Warm welcome, dear students. In today's video we are about to discuss the test of 25 October 2020, dual nature of matter and radiations. First question: when light of frequency 2 nu naught, where nu naught is threshold frequency, falls on a metal plate, the speed of electrons emitted is V1. If frequency is increased to 10 nu naught, 10 times threshold frequency, the maximum emitted electrons have velocity equal to V2. Question is, what is the ratio of V1 is to V2? So we know the relation for kinetic energy, that is equal to h into frequency minus work function, which is h nu naught. So when frequency was 2 nu naught, kinetic energy was half mv1 square. So it turns out to be h nu naught. If frequency is raised to 10 times nu naught, then kinetic energy, let us say, becomes half mv2 square. So on subtracting h nu naught from 10 h nu naught, you get 9 h nu naught. Divide the two, half m cancels, v1 by v2 whole square is 1 by 9, h nu naught cancels. So taking the square root, that is 1 is to 3. So correct option is A option. v1 is to v2 is 1:3. Question number 2. An electron of mass m with an initial velocity v0 I cap, velocity is along x-axis, where v0 is a positive constant, enters an electric field minus E0 into I cap. So dear students, you know, if a negative charge is placed in an electric field, say electric field is along say positive x-axis, the force on negative charge is directed against the electric field. Q, magnitude of charge, and in direction it is opposite to the direction of electric field. Had it been a positive charge, the force becomes along the electric field. So that is the concept behind it. So velocity of the electron was already along positive x-axis, whereas electric field applied is along negative x-axis, which means the force on the electron, Q into E, would be opposite to the direction of electric field, and that force would be equal to magnitude of charge, E, into strength of electric field, capital E. So this much force is acting on the electron. So force equals mass into acceleration. That means acceleration experienced would be along positive x-axis, and in magnitude it would be E into capital E by mass of electron. But electron has got some initial velocity also, v0. So using the relation final velocity v equal to initial velocity v0 plus acceleration into time taken. So this is a new velocity of the electron at any time t. So since initial velocity as well as acceleration are in the same direction, so both would carry same sign, hence they have been added. So final answer, lambda equal to h by mass into velocity, initial wavelength lambda naught, new wavelength lambda equal to h upon mass into new velocity, which we have just calculated as initial velocity plus at, v equal to u plus at. So new velocity has been substituted, but since answer is required in terms of lambda naught, so what I am going to do, taking v naught common, so that this h by mv naught can be represented as lambda naught again. So v naught common, here you are left with 1, and here you have to divide by v naught. So you got the answer, that is choice D is the correct option. Initial wavelength divide by the contribution of electric field, that is change in velocity, that is written in the denominator. Okay, now question number 3. A particle A with mass m and initial velocity v collides with a stationary mass m by 2. This is mass m and second mass is smaller one, that is m by 2. So you have to incorporate the concept of elastic collision learnt last year. Initial velocity of the incident mass was v and initial velocity of the target mass was 0. So you have to find the ratio of de Broglie wavelengths of mass A and mass B after the collision. So we need velocities v1 and v2 after the collision. Formulae: m1 minus m2 upon m1 plus m2 into u1. Second term was 2m2 u2, but u2 is 0. Initial velocity of second mass is 0, so you need not write second term. And for v2 you had 2m1 u1 last year, work power energy, upon m1 plus m2. So we have to use these two relations. So v1 turns out to be m1 is m, m2 is m by 2. So m minus m by 2 is m by 2. M plus m by 2 is 3m by 2. M cancel, by 2 cancel, velocity is v by 3. Same way v2, m1 is m, m1 plus m2 is 3m by 2, m cancel, 2 in a numerator, 2 into 2 4 by 3 into v. So lambda A, lambda B is equal to h upon m v, that is v by 3. Denominator, de Broglie wavelength of particle B, h by m into 4v by 3 numerator. Okay, h cancels, m cancels, v cancels, and two and 4 cancel. So 2 in numerator and 1 in denominator. Why this 2? Because the mass of particle B was m by 2 in numerator. Okay, remaining is mathematical calculation. You can carry out yourself. So answer is 2:1. Option A is the correct option. Question number 4. De Broglie wavelength of a neutron in thermal equilibrium with heavy water at temperature T and mass m is. So from kinetic theory of gases 10+1, we know kinetic energy per degree of freedom was half kT. Kinetic energy associated with 3 degrees of freedom, but because neutron can move this way, anyway. So kinetic energy associated with 3 degrees of freedom is 3 by 2 kT. So kinetic energy of the neutron is same, its temperature is same as that of temperature of water. Temperature same, that means kinetic energy 3 by 2 kT is possessed by the neutron. So further, for lambda we had 4 relations. One of them was h upon twice mass into kinetic energy. So in place of kinetic energy, just substitute 3 by 2 kT. By 2 cancel. So answer is h upon root of 3m kT. Option D is the correct option. Question number 5. When a metallic surface is illuminated with a radiation of wavelength lambda, the stopping potential was 3V. When same surface is illuminated with a radiation of wavelength 2 lambda, stopping potential becomes V. Question is, the threshold wavelength for the metallic surface is. Okay, so in terms of wavelength, stopping potential is given by hc upon E into 1 by wavelength of the photon minus 1 by threshold wavelength. So when wavelength was lambda, the stopping potential was 3V, lambda 3V. When wavelength is changed to 2 lambda, stopping potential becomes V. So here best method is divide these two equations so that extra terms V, H, C, E all cancel out, dividing and cross multiplying. The remaining is calculation already done on this page. Try yourself, if you can do better, otherwise go through these steps. So rest is up to you. Question number 6. An electron of mass m and a photon have same energy. You know, energy of photon is given by mc squared, whereas energy of an electron would be given as half into mv square. So they have same energy, E is same. We need a ratio of de Broglie wavelength. So we have to change this expression into mass and velocity. So divide E by 1c. You are left with mc, momentum. And for electron, you know momentum is given by 2m into kinetic energy. So 2m into E. E of electron and E of photon are same. So same E is to be used here. And now use de Broglie formula. Wavelength is equal to h upon momentum. Momentum of electron root of 2m into kinetic energy. And momentum of photon equal to E by C. E by C. So h upon E by C. C comes to numerator. Okay, h cancel out and solve the remaining terms. You get the answer. So 1 by C root of E by 2me. This is E power 1. This is E power half. Half power cancels. So this term becomes root of E. And re-express it as 1 by C root of E by 2me. So correct option is B option. Question number 7. A radiation of energy E falls normally on the surface of a reflecting surface. Perfectly reflecting surface means whatever energy is coming in, same is reflected back. Okay, now suppose this, here we have a mirror, perfectly reflecting surface. If photons are coming in with momentum mc, then photons are leaving the surface with momentum mc in opposite direction. Now you know, if a ball is coming towards bat and is reflected back with the same speed, then change in momentum. If initial momentum is minus mc, final is plus mc, difference between mc and minus mc, you know, difference between minus mc and mc is 2mc. So this much is the change in momentum of one photon which suffers after reflection from this perfectly reflecting surface. So this is change in momentum for one photon. Now we have to find how many photons are coming. Energy for one photon is mc square. For n photons which are reaching the surface is n into mc square. So can we get mc from here? mc is equal to E by C into n. So if we want momentum of n photons, then leave this n here itself. So it represents momentum of all the photons which are coming in. But you know, change in momentum is equal to double of that. So just multiply 2 on each side. That would give you how much change in momentum n photons suffer when they bounce back from this surface. Okay, so multiply by 2 on each side. So this is the expression for change in momentum transferred to the photons. But according to law of conservation of momentum, whatever momentum is possessed, change in momentum is suffered by the photons, same momentum is transferred to the reflecting surface also. So this is the change in momentum suffered by the photons. and equal change would be received by the mirror also. So momentum transferred to the reflecting surface is also equal to 2E by C. Okay, question number 8. Anode potential, anode voltage of a photocell is kept fixed. Wavelength of the light falling on the cathode is gradually changed. Question is, how does the plate current of the photocell change with wavelength? So very simple. Wavelength versus photoelectric current. You know, we have a term called threshold wavelength, above which photoelectric emission doesn't take place. So graph must not exist beyond a certain wavelength, lambda naught. So here graph is going beyond lambda naught, wrong. Graph is going beyond lambda naught, wrong. Now we are left with these two cases. As wavelength decreases, the frequency increases, energy of the photon increases, kinetic energy increases, that means velocity of photoelectrons increases. As wavelength decreases, velocity of photoelectrons increases, and current is given by NEA into drift velocity. So as velocity increases, current must increase. So on decreasing wavelength, current must increase. So this is a correct graph between current and wavelength. So option number B is correct, C is wrong. So B is your correct answer. Okay, question number 9. When energy of the incident radiation is increased by 50%, the kinetic energy of photoelectrons emitted from the metal surface is increased from 5 electron volt to 8 electron volt. What is the work function of the metal? So first of all, you must know what does 50% increase mean. If initial value of anything is 100, then 50% increase means new value becomes 150. Or if energy of photon initially was E, then new energy is 150 by 100 into E. 1 0 cancels, so 1.5 E. This is the new energy. So when energy was E or h nu, then kinetic energy, energy of photon minus work function, was 5 electron volt. When energy is increased to 1.5 E or 1.5 times h nu, work function remaining same, new kinetic energy becomes 8 electron volt. So we have to just so-called manage these two equations to get the work function of the metal. So better let us cancel h nu. Let's cancel h nu. For that, multiply this equation by 1.5. Sorry. This equation number 1 to be multiplied with 1.5. Okay, 15 into 1.5, 7.5. 1.5 into h nu, 1.5 h nu. And here you have 1.5 W. Okay, now just subtract the two and you will get the work function. Remaining is up to you. You can manage yourself. Method I have told. Equation 1 to be multiplied with 1.5 and equation 2 to be subtracted and solve. Solve these two equations. Remaining is mathematics. Okay. Question number 10. A 400 watt sodium vapor lamp emits a light of 0.6 micrometer. Efficiency is 25%. This question has been done so many times. Question is, how many photons are emitted per second? So energy of one photon is h nu. If n photons are given out per second and photons have energy h nu divided by second, that is time, is equal to power. Energy emitted by time taken is equal to power. So basic formula, power is equal to number of photons given out per second into h nu. If frequency is not given, no problem, write it as hc by lambda. So this is a basic concept. Further, only 25% of the total light input is converted into visible light. So this power is to be substituted as 25% of 400. The rest is calculation. Okay, so let me do it once again. Power equal to number of photons per second into hc by lambda. Number of photons per second are required is equal to power. 25% of 400 is 100, and take these hc by lambda to right hand side. H and c go to denominator, lambda goes to numerator. Rest is substitution. Please take care of units. Micrometer. Micro means 10 power minus 6. H, velocity of light, and solve. Question number 11. Davison and Germer experiment established the wave nature of electrons. Correct. If electrons have particle nature only, then they would show photoelectric effect only. This is a wrong statement and doesn't explain the statement 1. So straightway statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. If electrons have only particle nature, they won't show photoelectric effect. For photoelectric effect, we need photons, not electrons. That phenomenon is called secondary emission if electrons are made to be ejected with the help of electrons. That is not photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect requires purely photons. Okay, so second statement wrong, first statement is correct. Question number 12. A metallic surface is radiated by a light of frequency nu, which is greater than threshold frequency. Kinetic energy maximum was given and stopping potential was V naught. If frequency is doubled, both K max and V naught are doubled. This is wrong statement. Let me prove. If frequency is nu, then kinetic energy is K and work function is W. If frequency is made 2 times, 2h nu, then K becomes K dash, but work function doesn't change. So if we divide these two, h nu cancels. 2K plus 2W cross multiply is equal to K plus W. Taking W to right hand side, K dash becomes 2K plus W. So kinetic energy K dash becomes twice of kinetic energy plus something more, that is kinetic energy is more than double. Same way cutoff voltage would also become more than double. Okay, second statement. First statement is false. So false statement is written in only one choice, that is choice number B. First statement is false. Second is certainly true. Kinetic energy, stopping potential linearly depend upon the frequency of light. Very correct. Kinetic energy is given by H, a constant, into nu minus work function. So kinetic energy depends upon first power of frequency, which means linear dependence. So option B would be the correct option. Question number 13. A beam of cathode rays passes through crossed electric and magnetic fields. Here it should be written as B. Electric field and magnetic field are crossed, means if this is x-axis, a charge is moving along positive x-axis, let us say. The magnetic field is directed, say, into the paper, like this. So according to Fleming's left hand rule, Forefinger magnetic field into the paper, central finger towards right hand side. Thumb gives force due to magnetic field, that is QVB. Sin theta would be 1. And if we have an electric field directed in downward direction, the force due to electric field would be Q into E. If both these forces QE and QVB are able to cancel out each other, then this charge passes undeflected. So Q cancels. So condition for this situation is E upon B. So question is specific charge of the cathode rays. Specific charge means the ratio of charge is to mass is how much. Q by M ratio is required. So I am erasing the extra ink. QVB must be equal to QE. So V is given by E by B. Further V square would be equal to E square by B square. Multiply by half M on each side. Half mv square is equal to half m into E square by B square. Now kinetic energy acquired by a charge Q accelerated under V volt is given by Q into V. So replace half mv square with QV. Now we need Q by M. M to be taken to left, V to be taken to right hand side, and you get the answer. So E square upon 2VB square, option A is the correct option. Question number 14. In an electron microscope, electrons are accelerated under some voltage. If voltage is increased to 100 kV, that is made 4 times, the wavelength associated with the electrons would become. So in terms of potential difference, we had wavelength, de Broglie wavelength for electrons as h upon root of 2m into QV. So since V has been made 4 times, so square root of 4 gives 1 by 2. So wavelength must decrease by 2 times. So option number C is the correct option. Voltage is increased to 4 times. So instead of V, you have to write 4V. Root of 4 is equal to 2. So wavelength becomes half. That is decreases by 2 times. Question number 15. Easy question. The wavelength of the light used in photoelectric effect is given. Kinetic energy of photoelectrons given. Work function is required. Simple equation. Energy of the photon hc by lambda, if to be written in joule, in electron volt, divided by E more. hc by E, if written in case of wavelength, is given in nanometer, that is equal to 1240, divide by wavelength 400, solve it, you get the energy of photon. Energy of photon is divided into 2 parts, work function and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is given, subtract 1.68, you get the work function. Very easy question. Question number 16. The figure shows plot of photoelectric current versus anode potential. This question is equally important for your board exams also. For 3 different radiations, which one of the following statements is correct? This question has already been done in class also, if you could recall. Curves B and C, they finish at the same level, that means they have same intensities, whereas A and B finish at different levels, they are for different intensity, but starting point is same, that means they are meant for same material, that is cutoff voltage is same. Okay, so point A, curve A and B represent radiations of different frequency. If frequencies are different, then cutoff voltage are also different. Wrong. Curves A and B are representing incident radiation of same frequency. A and B same frequency but different intensities. Very correct. A and B start from same point, that is same cutoff voltage, but intensities are different. Let us see others also. Curve B and C represent incident radiations of different frequencies. different intensities, wrong, as they are finishing at the same point. D. Curves B and C represent incident radiations of same frequency. If they are of same frequency, they must start from the same point, same cutoff voltage. So that is also wrong. So B option is the correct option. Arrow has been drawn at the wrong point. Curves B and C represent incident radiations of different frequencies. This is wrong point. So make, dear students, please make B choice to be correct choice. A and B represent incident radiation of same frequency. That is, their cutoff voltage is same but different intensity. Choice number B is correct. Please make the correction. Okay, next question. 5 watt source emits monochromatic light of wavelength 5000 angstrom. When placed 0.5 meter away, if the distance is made to 1 meter, the number of photoelectrons emitted would reduce by a factor of. So for that you have been told already, if a photosensitive surface is placed at a distance r from a source of light, the intensity of light falling is inversely proportional to r square. So if we make this distance 1 meter, that is, distance is made double, so intensity would inversely be proportional to 4r square. So we have got a factor 1 by 4. So photoelectrons emitted are proportional to the intensity of light, so they would get reduced by a factor of 4. So choice A is the correct choice. Question number 18. A photosensitive surface has work function h nu naught. If photons of energy 2 h nu naught fall on the surface, the electrons come out with the maximum velocity of 4 into 10 power 6 meter per second. If we increase frequency to 5 h nu naught, the maximum velocity of photoelectrons would be. So use the formula for kinetic energy. Half mv square equal to energy of photon minus work function. So when energy was 2 h nu naught, kinetic energy was half mv1 square. When photons energy is increased to 5 h nu naught, then kinetic energy becomes half mv2 square. So subtracting, dividing, you get v1 square by v2 square as 1 by 4. Taking square root, v1 by v2 is 1 by 2. That means v2 is 2 times v1. 2 times v1 means 8 into 10 power 6 meter per second is the correct answer. Question number 19. According to Einstein's photoelectric equation, the plot of kinetic energy versus frequency. If you could recall, graph between kinetic energy and frequency was given by the equation kinetic energy equal to h, a constant, into nu minus work function. So this is slope of the graph, this is variable, this is variable, and this one is called intercept on y-axis. The graph was a little bit extrapolated and it intersected y-axis at minus w. So first of all, this gives a straight line whose slope is only h, which is a constant quantity. So straightway look for the option where slope is written to be constant. That is choice number D. Slope is same for all the materials independent of intensity, frequency, anything. All materials, if we have got let us say another material whose work function is more, then graph would again be of same slope. Its position would no doubt be different, work function would be different, but slope is going to be h each time. So it is same for all the metals. Choice number D is correct choice. Okay, question number 20. Very easy. Momentum of a photon of energy 1 mega electron volt in kg meter per second would be. Very simple. Energy of photon is given by many forms, mc squared, hc by lambda, h into nu. So mc would be equal to momentum of photon. We need momentum would be equal to energy upon c. So energy is given, just change this energy into joule. Change this energy into joule. So 1 mega electron volt is equal to, mega electron volt would be equal to 1.6 10 power minus 19. This is in joule if electron volt is to be changed, but mega means 10 power 6 more. Just add these two powers, minus 13, divide it with velocity of light. Rest is calculation. So option number D is correct option. Question number 21. A source causes photoelectric effect from a small metal plate. Which of the following curves represent the saturation photoelectric current as a function of distance between source and the metal? So just told the intensity of a source reaching a surface is inversely proportional to square of the distance, and photoelectric current is proportional to intensity. So that means photoelectric current is also inversely proportional to r square. So if this type of dependence is there, photoelectric current is to distance. This type of dependence is there, inverse proportion, graph looks like this. So correct option is D option. Question number 22. A proton and an electron are accelerated under same potential difference. Their de Broglie wavelengths are respectively connected through the relation. So lambda is inversely proportional to momentum. Clear? And momentum in terms of kinetic energy is given by 2m into kinetic energy. So since kinetic energy is given for a charge q accelerated under v volt is q into v, so momentum is equal to 2m into qv square root. So that means lambda h upon 2m qv square root. Both electron and photon have same charge, so need not be considered. H is a constant, 2 is a constant, and both have been accelerated under same potential difference. V is also same. So for this condition, lambda is inversely proportional to root of m. Now you know which of the two, proton or electron, has got lesser mass. Lesser mass is for electron. So denominator is smaller, that means lambda is higher. So electron would have more de Broglie wavelength than a proton. Simple. Option number C, correct one. Question number 23. Work function of cesium is 1.9 electron volt. You need maximum kinetic energy if a light of wavelength 350 nanometer falls on it. Again simple, but please take care when you are making calculation in electron volt, then wavelength hc by lambda gives energy in joule, but to convert it into electron volt you need an E also here. And remember to put hc by E 12,400 if wavelength is in angstrom, and write hc by E as 1240 if lambda is in nanometer. So this is the formula to be used. So kinetic energy is hc by E lambda, hc by E to be taken as 1240, divide it with 350. Solve, you will get this value. Subtract work function from it, you get the kinetic energy. So option number D. Question number 24. Work function of aluminium is 4.2 electron volt. And two photons of energy 3.5 electron volts strike the electron in aluminium. The emission of electron So since one photon interacts with one electron only, so you may have 100 photons, each of energy this much. As long as energy of one photon is lesser than work function of the metal, no photoelectric emission would take place. So photoelectric emission is not possible. So C option is the correct option. Okay, last question. A beam of electrons is used in Young's double slit experiment. That is, wave nature of electrons is used to carry out Young's double slit experiment. Slit width is D, and you know fringe width from YDSC was lambda capital D by small d. This is screen distance, capital D. So if velocity of electrons is increased, you know velocity is increased, that means de Broglie wavelength, h by mv. V increases, that means wavelength decreases. If wavelength decreases, fringe width decreases. Both are in numerator. So correct option C. So I have finished all the questions. If you have any doubt, you can go back to the video stage again, that very question in the video. If still you have a doubt, please forward this question to me through WhatsApp. I'll solve it, make it more elaborated so that best out of you is brought out. So thank you for joining. That is all about today's lecture. Please like if video is well understood by you, and share the video with others. Subscribe the channel.